All right, so I welcome you all again, guys, in this journey that we are about to begin of this subject, strategic management. This subject is of 50 marks in your CA intermediate level at the CA intermediate level. Okay. Now, strategic management, again, before I start this subject, before I give you insights about this subject, before we discuss about the uh, content of this subject, number of chapters in this subject, I have a very basic discussion to do. First thing that you perhaps should be knowing, that why is this subject there in your syllabus? Why are you being taught the subject of strategic management? Okay. Now, I always tell it to my students, like who do audit from me and all. I always tell them that the subject of auditing is going to be your bread and butter. The subject of auditing is going to be your main area of work in future. Okay, and it's not just the subject of auditing, but I should put it in this way, that as an auditor, I mean, you are expected to be experts in the field of accounts and auditing, right, as a chartered accountant. Okay, so but then why are you being taught this subject of strategic management? Now understand this, guys, that you know even if the institute wants us to be an expert in the field of accounting and auditing, okay, as a chartered accountant, if we become the auditors, okay, still, to know the company better, to understand the entity and its environment, we need to know the basics of the strategic management. We will be able to understand our client better, okay, if we know some basics about the business. We need to know, okay, what strategies they are following, whether they are opting for expansion of business or they are trying to cut down on their operations. We need to understand the basic terms of management. Okay, that is going to help us to have a better understanding of the entity and its environment. And if you remember, guys, I mean, if some of you have covered the subject of auditing, as per one standard 315, we have to obtain understanding of the entity and its environment, right? So it becomes imperative for the auditor to know about the business, and this subject, strategic management, will help you to understand your clients, the business environment of the client, in a better manner. Okay, now let's say, sir, we don't want to be auditors. Okay, you let's say, even if you become a chartered accountant, when you become a chartered accountant, let's say you are into some corporate jobs or you start your own business. Okay, but then what is going to be the use of strategic management, guys? Let's say, even if you are not into practice, or let's say, maybe if somebody, if they do a basic consultation with you, okay, let's say you join a company. Okay, you are as a employee, you're working in that company, and now the management of the company is using big bombastic words that we are going to diversify, and we are going to acquire this company, and we are going to do this intensification, and then we are going to they're using all these bombastic words of different strategies. Okay, and perhaps if you are not taught, if you don't even know the basics of what strategic management is, probably you will be very much not, you'll not be comfortable sitting with them, and they will also feel, hey, what chartered accountant is this? I mean, he doesn't even understand the basic business terms. And then you cannot justify, no, okay, I don't understand the basic business terms, but I know how to do the audit, I'm an expert in accounting and auditing. No, I mean, it's a basic fundamental thing. It has become a basic fundamental thing for us to know basic terms about management. Again, I'm being very clear here. Institute doesn't want us to be expert in strategic management. Okay, the experts of strategic management, perhaps somebody who's done an MBA in marketing and all, they would be expert. But of course, the basic knowledge you should be having. Imagine, no, your clients, you're working in a company, okay, or your employer, they are in a meeting, okay, and they are using this terminologies from management, and you're not able to understand anything, and just like you're nodding your head, so it's not going to give a good impression about our profession. Okay, so be whether you are in practice as an auditor, you need to understand your client. For that, the strategic management is important. If you are under employment also, then also, to understand the moves of the company, to understand the business environment better, you need to have the basic knowledge of strategic management. Forget about this. Even if you are not in practice nor in your job, let's say you become a chartered accountant and you start your own business, then also, to prosper in the business, to flourish in the business, to understand the basics of the business environment, we need to have the concepts of strategic management. Hence, this subject is very much vital. Okay. All right, all of you know this, that the weightage of this particular subject is 50 marks. Okay. And one part of this particular paper is financial management, and the other part we are covering is strategic management. Okay. Now, again guys, before we start with the index and all, I'll just give you an overview as to the paper pattern which may be expected in the exams. Okay, but then I'm not very sure as to what the paper pattern will be, because May 24 is going to be the first attempt under the new syllabus. However, still I'll give you a guidance, an idea as to how can the paper look like in the exam. Okay, so it's a 50 mark paper, strategic management, and most importantly, 15 marks is going to be of what? The MCQs. Okay, 30%. So 15 marks is MCQ. Okay, and the remaining 35 marks, guys, is of course going to be the subjective portion. Now, in this subjective portion, probably they are going to ask you mostly application based questions. They will give you a scenario, and then accordingly you will have to answer. So again, the conceptual understanding of this particular subject becomes really very important. Okay, so we'll understand the entire subject very conceptually, but at the same time, see, institute might ask few direct questions also, like what are the advantages of this, what are the limitations of this. So we have to prepare accordingly, right? So we are going to not just focus on the concepts, but we are also going to understand how to retain certain aspects from the chapters. Okay, we are going to go through the notes, and where you have to retain a bit of content, we are going to focus on that as well. So it's going to be a very comprehensive knowledge and understanding that we are going to cover in the upcoming sessions. Okay. All right, so that's, I think, I've given you enough about the paper also, though very honestly, we'll have a clarity only once May 24 attempt happens, and thereafter we'll have a good clarity as to what kind of questions may be expected in the exams. Okay, but yes, we have to prepare for everything. Will be, as I mentioned, we'll be doing all the direct questions, we'll be doing all the true and false also, we'll be doing all the case based questions also, we'll be covering everything. Okay. All right, now, strategic management 50 marks paper. Perhaps if you see the content, guys, this is going to be the smallest content. We only have 5 chapters. So going by the ICI material, we only have 5 chapters in the new syllabus. Okay, and it's very sorted, easy, and we have to understand the flow of these chapters also. So if you can see, there are 5 chapters now. Okay, the chapter number 1 is basics. It is what is strategic management, what is strategy, what is management. We are going to learn the basics, the fundamentals of strategic management in chapter number 1. And if you see, the name of the chapter is Introduction to Strategic Management. Okay, so we'll be covering the fundamentals part here. Once you know the basics of the strategic management, once you know the various terms of the strategic management, then we shall basically cover 2 chapters. If you can see, chapter number 2 and chapter number 3. Chapter 2 and chapter 3 is basically strategic analysis. Okay, and this strategic analysis, if you can see, it is of external environment and internal environment. So we are going to cover these 2 chapters to basically understand the environment. Okay, before any strategies are being made, the organization, the company needs to know about its environment, and it needs to know about both its external environment as well as internal environment. Okay, and then after understanding the environment, perhaps you must have heard of the SWOT analysis and all. The matching would be done with the external and internal environment, and accordingly the strategies will be made. We have the next chapter as strategic choice. So based on our strengths, weakness, based on the opportunities and threats which is available in the environment, strategies would be made. So the chapter name is strategic choices. Strategic choices is with respect to formulation of strategies. So in very simple terms, let's say if you see there is an opportunity, and you also have a strength, you have a lot of capital, so you might want to expand. So we will make strategies for expansion. Let's say our product is declining. Okay, customers are no longer interested in our products. and our cash is also, we are not very, rich in, let's say, in terms of cash liquidity or capital. So we might try to withdraw from some of the businesses. I mean, we might try to shut down some of the operations. So depending on the evaluation of the environment we do, internal and external, we will come up with the strategic choices. We'll formulate different strategies. Okay. And guys, it's only by formulating strategies, only by choosing the strategies is not going to fetch you the results, right? So very important task after formulating, after creating, after crafting those strategies is basically to implement those strategies. So we are going to understand about implementation and execution of the strategies. Okay, so if you see guys, this is given in a very sequential manner. Okay, so again, if I tell you guys, these three chapters, okay, are going to help you basically in something called as, let's say, formulation of strategies. Formulation of strategies. Okay, then this chapter is, we are going to learn about implementation, or let's say I can even call it as execution. So when you formulate certain strategies, we have to implement them. Okay, and also there is one more part, and control. So sometimes guys, when you make the strategies, also you implement them, you have to see continuously whether the strategies are still valid or not, whether the strategies are okay in light of the changes in the environment, in light of the changes in the circumstances. So you have to see whether the strategies are still relevant or not. We call this as evaluation. So you have to do evaluation, or I can also call it as control. You have to see whether the strategies that you have made, it is still going to give you results or not, whether you have to make certain changes to the strategy, etc. So if I tell you in very layman's terms, again, the entire strategic management word, the name of your subject, strategic management, right? It encompasses three things about strategy. It is going to teach us about the formulation of strategy, number one. Okay. Number one is formulation, second is implementation, and the third one is evaluation of these strategies. And this is what we are going to cover in the entire syllabus of strategic management in the form of 5 chapters. Okay. So introduction to strategic management, it's just basics. It is just going to teach us what is strategy, what is management, what is meant by strategic management. All such things we are going to cover. But actual strategic management, that means formulation of strategies, implementation of strategies, evaluation of strategies. We are going to cover these aspects from chapter number 2 till chapter number 5. Okay, and of course guys, these are things which has to be done in sequence. Okay, you first will understand the basics. Okay, and then you have to know your own environment, know our own strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. Okay, accordingly we'll be in a position to make strategies. Strategic choices with respect to formulation. Okay, once the strategies are formulated, we'll have to see whether the execution of those strategies, the implementation of those strategies is proper or not. Hence we have a chapter on strategic implementation. And only by implementation also guys, things might not work as intended. Okay, so you might have to revise your strategies, you might have to make changes in your strategies so that you get the desired results. So we'll also learn about something called as evaluation. Okay, so this is the entire strategic management process, and we have, of course, we are going to learn in the form of different chapters. Okay, all right, so I hope you have an idea. 5 chapters, and how much marks do we have guys? We have, the coverage is of 50 marks, so all sorted. Simple, 5 chapters, 50 marks. Okay, it's going to be super scoring, and this is one subject that you all shall love, because there will be less of learning here and more of understanding, and it's going to be a very practical discussion that we are going to do. So maybe first few chapters, like introduction to strategic management, this is going to be a bit theoretical. Why? Because we are going to learn about the basic terms used here. But then all the remaining chapters, like about strategy formulation and all, we are going to learn everything very practically. With, wherever possible, we'll be taking some real life examples, real world examples, all the real companies examples, and practically understand the scenarios and various strategies. Okay, all right. Now, few things I would want to again tell before I actually start the journey with chapter number 1. Okay, number 1 is, those who are going to watch the recorded lectures, my humble request, my sincere request to all of you is to ensure consistency. Maintain consistency, guys. It shouldn't happen that you end up watching two lectures today and then there is a gap of 7 8 days, and again on one fine day you wake up and then you decide, okay, let's do strategic management. No. So even if you do this unnecessary, you are going to take around 1.5 month, 2 months to complete strategic management, and probably the linkage will not be much. So my sincere request is, once you enroll for the recorded lectures, once you start watching, please ensure consistency. Please watch it continuously till you complete the course. Okay, have a dedicated routine or have a dedicated time for wherein you are going to watch these lectures. Okay, number one, this was my first request. Second is, I would like to tell you about the way we are going to proceed with the lectures. So guys, generally my lectures, if you have enrolled for the auditing also, you must be knowing that our lectures are going to be topic wise. Okay, so it's not going to be a 2.5 hours lecture that you are going to get each day. Okay, so the recordings, perhaps I'll show you the lecture schedule which I had shared in the old syllabus also. So our lectures is going to be somehow like this. For example, today I'm the lecture that I'm taking right now is introduction to strategic management. So the duration will be somewhere around, let's say, 20 minutes, and of course no chapter. And then what is, see, we are just going to take up one topic, what is strategy. The discussion, let's say in the previous batch it went up to 41 minutes. This is with reference to chapter 1. Then we have another lecture. Now the benefit of this is, if why I don't keep my lectures like for 2 hours 3 hours per lecture. The benefit is, now let's say if you want to revise a particular topic just before the exams, or you are not very confident on a particular topic, you can just simply click, okay, levels of strategy, and the video will pop up on your screen. You don't have to scroll, or you don't have to find in those 3.5 hours lecture, 2 hours lecture, okay, where did sir teach levels of strategy, was it in lecture number 1 or lecture number 2? So this is going to make your revision also very effective. Okay, and that is why most of our students who go for 2 views or views higher than 1 view, they're able to consume it, because just before the exams also, if you have any doubts with respect to any particular topic, just click the topic and everything, you'll be sorted basically. So all my lectures, upcoming lectures also, are going to be in this format. Okay, all right. So yes, I think I have given you a good idea about the subject, as to why we are studying this subject. We have also discussed with respect to the contents of the subject, and I think now we are good to go. Let us start, guys, with chapter number 1. Chapter number 1 is Introduction to Strategic Management. All right, guys, so let us begin our strategic management journey with the first chapter, Introduction to Strategic Management. Okay, and in this particular chapter, what is it that we are going to cover? I'm just going to take up few basic terminologies first. If you can see, we'll understand the meaning of the word strategy first. What is the meaning of the word strategy? Okay, and then we are going to learn understand the meaning of the word management, and then we are going to combine them to understand the meaning of the word strategic management. Okay, so before we can take up any particular topic in detail, at least you should understand the meaning of the name, or let's say of the subject that you are covering, right? Strategic management. So we are going to break this word strategic management into two words: strategic, strategy, and management, and then we are going to understand each of them individually and then combine them to understand the meaning of strategic management. Okay, so let's begin, guys, with the word strategy. All right, now if I go, guys, with the dictionary meaning of the word strategy, okay, now the word strategy in the in mostly was used in the context of wars. Okay, now wherever one country was planning for a war, or was already in a warfare with another country, they would make strategies to win over their enemies. So the word strategy, if I tell you, the word strategy is was rather not is was primarily meant or used in in case of wars. Okay, like if you have to win over your enemy. Okay, so we have something written here, that what is the dictionary meaning of the word strategy? It means something that has to do with war and the ways to win over enemy. Okay, but now, guys, of course, this is no longer restricted to only wars. right? Now if let's say guys, you're playing any game, you are playing a game with your friend, okay, will you not make strategies to win over your opponent? Yes. If Chennai Super Kings is playing against Mumbai Indians, Chennai Super Kings also would make strategies so that they can win over Mumbai Indians, okay. So strategy word is no longer just restricted to wars, but now it is broadly, it is widely used in a lot of different arenas also, and of course in business also, okay. Now if guys, again, if I go with the meaning, okay, that what is strategy, what is it that you have to keep in mind, okay, so let's just focus on one particular definition, okay, and this definition, it is going to be better if you are able to remember it also, okay. So what is the definition? Let's understand. Now it says strategy. What is strategy? It says strategy is a game plan. Number one word that you have to understand is strategy is a game plan, okay. And who uses it? It is going to be used by the management of the company. So it's a game plan, it's a plan by the management of the company, okay. Now why will they even make such kind of plans? Why would a company come up with some strategies, okay? So there are few points which is mentioned here, okay. Probably just read it once, we are going to repeat it twice or thrice, and then we are going to understand it practically also. So what is strategy, guys? Just remember this definition. It's a game plan, and who uses it? It is used by management, okay. Why? So that they can take market position, so they can have a better position in the market. Number one, they can conduct their operations effectively, efficiently, okay. So it is used by management to take market position, conduct its operations. The company would want to attract and please customers. They would want to be better than their competitors. They would want to compete successfully and ultimately achieve all the organization objectives. So why would any company have strategy, guys? Any company would have a strategy. It's a game plan created, made by the management. Why? So that they are able to have a good market position, okay. They are able to conduct their operations, daily operations, very effectively, efficiently, okay. They are able to attract and please customers, not just the new customers, okay. Maybe existing customers also, they would want to make them happy, they would want them to be satisfied. So then we need to have some strategies for that, okay. Then the company would also need to have strategies to compete successfully with their competitors, right? So to be in a better position with respect to their competitors, so we have the word compete successfully. And ultimately any company, guys, would form a strategy to achieve their overall organization objectives, whatever objectives they have. Ultimately they would want to achieve their overall objectives, okay. So again, let's read this formal definition. It's a formal definition that we have to understand, okay. So what is strategy, guys? Strategy means a game plan. Strategy means a game plan, okay. Game plan, who makes a strategy? In terms of business, if I say, it is made by the management, okay. Why do they make strategies? For various things, like for having a better position in the market, for conducting their operations smoothly, effectively, or efficiently, so that there is no disruption in their operations, okay. Third, so that they are able to retain, they are able to attract new customers. Fourth is so that their position is better than their of competitors. That means they have a competitive advantage, they are able to compete successfully. And finally, so that ultimately they are able to realize all their organization objectives, okay. So very much theoretical, I know it is theoretical, but then guys, it's always better if you have one formal definition of strategy in your mind. If you see the ICI material, there are a lot of definitions and all given there, right? But then if let's say at all somewhere it is asked what is strategy and what are the benefits or something about strategy, so at least I want you to have a rock solid answer, okay. So again, let's repeat, guys. What is strategy? Strategy is a game plan. Who makes it? Let's say management, okay. For what reasons? Five reasons. POCCO. What is POCCO? Number one, understand, to have a good market position, okay. Then to operate successfully, or let's say operate smoothly or effectively, efficiently. Third, probably company would need strategy to attract and please its customers. Company would need strategy to compete properly, let's say compete successfully. And they would also have to have strategies so that they're able to achieve their organization objectives, right? Okay, guys, that this was quite theoretical, okay. But then, guys, if I ask you this, I'm very sure, guys, in your life also, you must have made a lot of strategies. Okay. And I don't know, I mean, in what arenas of life you must have made a strategy, but I'm very sure, like, let's say for example, if I take the example of some of your exams, let's say CA foundation also you have all cleared, right? So you must have made some strategy for CA foundation also. Strategy in terms of what? Strategy for clearing CA foundation, right? So you must have made a study plan, you must have made certain strategies, of course, to clear CA foundation. And yes, you have done it also. My heartiest congratulations for you, to you for that. Okay. But yes, guys, I'm really very sure that most of you have made a lot of strategies, and we all are experts when it comes to making strategies, right? But then, we all know the reality when it comes to implementing the strategies, right? So I'm very sure that in foundation also you have made a lot of strategies, you must have made a good plan for your studies and all, but then when it comes to implementation, it is really difficult, right? So in this subject of strategic management, it's that is why I told you in the introductory lecture also that strategic management is not just about formulation of strategies. We shall also learn here about strategy implementation, and once implementation is done, we shall also be learning about the evaluation part, whether the strategy still hold good or not, etc. Okay. Anyways, guys, this is a very theoretical definition, but if I consider practically, guys, every company will make some strategies, and they will make strategies mostly. Why would they make strategies? For all these reasons. They would want to have a better position in the market, they would want to have their operations conducted very smoothly, they would want to attract and please customers, they would want to be better than their competitors, and of course they would want to achieve their overall objectives. Okay. But guys, I told you what, if I go with the dictionary meaning, it simply means ways to win over your enemy, ways to win over your enemy, or let's say competitors, if I talk in terms of business. So strategies would be devised or formulated to be in a better position than our competitors. Okay. Or let's say if I go with the dictionary meaning, or if I have to do with the word war, if I take this into consideration, it simply means ways to win over our enemy. Okay. Now I'll just give you a simple example, guys. uh, let's say there were, two CEOs, a CEO of two companies rather, let's say. Okay. CEO of two big companies, let's say he's Mr. A. Okay. And there is one more CEO, let's say Mr. B. They met somewhere in some informal parties and all. Okay. And then they met each other, and then uh, they were like, okay, let's get try and be big, become bigger. Okay. So they thought, okay, how can we become bigger? Okay. So they thought, let's think about the prospect of being, let's merge together. Okay. So these are two CEOs of two different companies. Now they were planning to merge, and to discuss more about this, what happened, they went to a jungle. These two CEOs went to a jungle. They thought, hey, this merger and all is a very important thing for us to discuss, and we don't want this to be out to the public now, because we are still in very initial discussion. So let's go to some jungle, and we'll be having a peaceful environment there with our peace of mind, no phone network, nothing. So we'll just have good time, we'll discuss about the prospective merger. Okay. This was the strategy. They wanted to become bigger, so they're discussing about, merging as one entity. Then what happened, they went to a jungle, and they took their uh, tents and camping equipments, etc. And both of these CEOs were in a very jolly mood. They had good time in the evening and all, and they had set up their camp, everything, bonfire, etc. I want you to imagine the situation. Okay. And they were, yes, in bits and parts they were still discussing, they were trying to discuss about the prospective merger. Okay. The future merger. Okay. But then in the late evening, when they actually sat down seriously, let's start the discussion. Okay, how should we proceed, I mean, about the merger and all, what benefits will it accrue? So all of a sudden what happened, that they heard some roaring of animal. Okay. And probably by the kind of roar they heard, they were certain that it's a tiger. Okay. Now, of course, both the CEOs looked into each other's eyes, and of course, they were a bit scared. But then again, few minutes later, the the roaring of the tiger, it became even more louder. That they were apparent now. It was quite certain that the tiger is somehow approaching them only. Okay. So all of a sudden, when the roar became very, loud, okay, one of the CEOs, he quickly, stood from the chair and from the place they were sitting, and then he started, tying up his shoes and all. Okay, and then the other CEO asked, Mr. B asked Mr. A, hey, why are you even tying the shoes and all? What is your plan? Okay, he said, of course, we are going to run if the tiger comes. So Mr. B was like, even if we run, that of course we'll not be able to compete with the speed of the tiger. Of course, he is going to eat us up. Okay, he's going to, of course, catch us and we'll be gone. Okay, so Mr. A was like, okay, he heard it, but then he was still tying his shoes and all, and then all of a sudden he started running. Mr. A. Then Mr. B again asked, hey, why are you running? So Mr. A told that even if, okay, we know Mr. A told Mr. B that, yeah, I know that, of course, my speed is not, cannot match the speed of the tiger, but then at least I can try to run faster than you. I can try. Mr. A was like, he's going to try to run faster than Mr. B. Why? Because, of course, if he is able to run faster than Mr. B, the tiger might catch only Mr. B, and probably the tiger would be done for his day. Right? So again, see what has happened here. The two CEOs, they were planning to do a merger now, okay, a few minutes ago, but now the survival has come into a question, and now Mr. A is running. He's trying to be ahead of Mr. B so that his life is saved. Okay, so what has happened here, guys? Different circumstances will make us have different strategies. Okay, and in either of the two cases, in the prior case also, when they were discussing the merger, their plan was to become bigger. Their plan was to have a better market position. Their plan was to, overgrow or outgrow their competitors. Their plan was to be better than their competitors. So that is why they wanted to come together. The bigger the better. But at the same time, then when this situation arise, came, I mean, there's a tiger in the jungle, and then the all of a sudden the strategies totally changed. The survival came into the question, and Mr. A started running faster than Mr. B. So all this is nothing but strategy, guys. Okay, and why would Mr. A try to run faster than Mr. B? His aim was not to win over the tiger. His aim was not to run faster than the tiger. He knows he can't compete with the tiger, but then he was very smart. He thought, okay, if I have this, if I play this strategy, that I'm able to, let's say, try and run faster than Mr. B, at least the chances of me surviving is very high now. So this was his strategy. And again, why did he think of this strategy? Same thing, to be in a better position, of course, in terms of life, to be alive, basically. Okay, so please understand this, guys. Strategies always are made. Strategies will be made, be it in your personal lives or your business lives, your academic lives. Okay, you will make strategies to be in a better position than others, to be in a better position in terms of market, if I talk in business, to so that our operations are run effectively, efficiently, so that we are in a better position than our competitors, so that we can be able to attract more customers, or let's say we can be able to retain more customers that we already have. So all these are, the outcomes, or maybe I can say, because of all these things, strategies are made. Okay, all right, so yes, we are done with 2 points, guys. It's just understanding part. Okay, so strategy, if I go with the dictionary word, it means something to do with war. And secondly, it says strategy is a game plan and used by management. So I'll be revising this definition a lot. We'll be taking this as our main definition. Okay, all right, so we are still understanding the word strategy. Okay, and we are understanding the basics of the word strategy. So you can see we have few more points with respect to strategy that we need to understand. Okay, all right, the third point says that strategy is a long range blueprint. It's a long range blueprint of an organization's desired image, direction, and destination. So strategy is a long range blueprint of an organization's desired image, direction, and destination. Now what does this mean? It simply means, guys, if you have a desire, if you have a destination, that yes, I want to reach here, I want to reach here, I want to reach this level. So strategy is going to help you to reach to that level. Strategy is like a blueprint. When I say blueprint, what does blueprint means? Blueprint means it's like a step by step process. It's like a model. Okay, now in very layman's terms, if I explain you guys what is blueprint, let's say I am a builder, I'm an architect, okay, and a landowner has given a plot of land to me, and he's like, okay, you have to build a house here, or you have to construct a construct a building here. So will I immediately from next day start building the house or erecting the house? No, I'll design a blueprint first. Blueprint is like a map. It's like a flow chart kind of thing, that okay, this is how the building is going to look like. This will be the entrance of the building. This is where the staircase of the building would be. This is where the parking space would be. This is where the lifts would be placed. So I'll create a blueprint first, right? I already have a desired image that okay, this is what I want, but then I'll make a blueprint first. Likewise, strategies are also your blueprints. It says it's a long range blueprint, okay, of an organization's desired image. It says okay, it organization's desired image, direction, and destination. When I say desired image, direction, it simply means it's a blueprint for the company's future. It says desired image, direction, and destination. It's talking about the future. So strategy is a, again I'm reading the point, we still have a lot of words to understand here, okay. So strategy is a long range blueprint. It's like, a roadmap. It's like a roadmap to a company's future, where you want to be. So if you see the word, we have been given three words here. It says it is a long range blueprint to the organization's desired image, how you want your company to be, how you want your company to be portrayed by others, how do you want your company to be looked upon by others, okay. So it says about our desired image, direction, and destination, where we want our company to be, okay. So strategy is a long range blueprint. Now, in simple words, it says, I'll highlight this word, strategy is a long range blueprint. Now, why long range? Why long range, guys? Please understand, if you have a desired image, if you have a desired destination to reach, it's not going to be very easy. It's not going to be something, that you can achieve in 5 minutes of time. So strategies are going to be long range, are going to be, when I say long range blueprint, it simply means that the outcome of these strategies, it is going to take a bit of time for you to reach to that destination, to reach to that desired image, to reach to that particular direction. So strategy is going to be long range. The results that you are going to get is not going to be immediate, but it is going to be in the long term, okay. So that is why we say strategy is a long range blueprint of an organization's desired image, direction, and destination. It's not going to be very short term, yes, but I'm not denying that okay, strategies can't be for short term. Of course it will be, but then the main outcome that we want to achieve, it is going to happen in in some period of time. So that is why we say the ultimate outcome of strategies is going to be in long term. Now, for example, if I take this very in simple manner, guys, what happens is, let's say your ultimate desire now, for since you are a CA intermediate student, now probably your ultimate desire or ultimate destination would be to become a chartered accountant, okay. Let's say, of course we have other things also very important other than becoming a chartered accountant, but let's say that at this moment you have your dream or destination or desire to become a chartered accountant, okay. So this is your long range dream. I mean, it is not going to happen right quickly, that if you follow this strategy things will happen, right? It's not like this. And if you want to achieve this position, if you want to have this prefix before your name, probably you'll have to put in efforts, and then the strategies are going to be of help to you. And of course, that is why, guys, if to achieve this long term objective, to achieve this long term, or let's say desired image, direction, we might have to make a lot of small objectives. We might have to set a lot of small objectives also. Like for example, you can't just directly become a chartered accountant, right? You have to clear foundation, then you'll be setting targets, objectives for clearing intermediate, and then joining a CA firm, and then probably appearing for CA final exams and clearing the exams. So the ultimate results of strategies are seen in long run, but to reach to that position, guys, you will have to take a lot of short term decisions as well. So we are going to come to it later on, but for the timing, what is strategy, guys? It's a long range blueprint of an organization's desired image, direction, and destination, where the company wants to reach in future, okay. All right. Now, guys, if I put it in this way, if I just give you one example for this, okay, let's say there is an automobile manufacturer, a car manufacturer, okay, and their desire is to become a leader in EV, in manufacturing the electric vehicles. Or they want to be an expert, they want to be a leader in the EV technology, electric vehicle technology, okay. So if they have this desire, okay, they can't become the leaders in EV in just one day. This is their desired destination, but the strategies they make are going to help them to reach to that desired destination or image, right, which is of course in future. So strategies are long term blueprints, okay. I hope this word is clear. Now why am I focusing on all this? You'll get to know in some time, because we'll be discussing questions from each of these lines, okay. I'll tell you how questions were asked in the past exams from these lines, okay. So it's going to be very easy, but yeah, let's first try and understand the concepts, okay. All right, so we have covered, guys, three basic things about strategy, okay. One was a dictionary meaning, then a formal definition, and third is that, okay, strategy is long range blueprint. You won't get the results immediately, but yes, it is going to fetch you the results in the long term, okay. So it's a long range blueprint. All right, next, very important, you can mark this as important specifically. So again, we are going to learn few more concepts about the word strategy. Sir, you're only telling us theoretical part of strategy. You have not even discussed one single strategy of a company. So let the right time come, guys. Okay. We have entire chapters wherein we'll be discussing a lot about practically about the strategies which the company may implement. Okay. So be patient and have some patience. We'll be covering all those strategies. Okay. But let's understand, let's make our foundation really rock solid first. Now, the fourth point is very, very important. We can, they can ask a direct question from this part. They may even frame a scenario based, case based question from this part. Okay. So, what is this point? Guys, it says strategy is partly proactive and partly reactive. Strategy is partly proactive and partly reactive. Now, what does it mean, guys? Guys, in very layman's terms, okay, you are, let's say you have your CA intermediate exams in the coming May 24 attempt, okay. Now if you want to really clear this exam, you are going to make certain strategies, your study plan, etc. Now my simple question to you is, are you going to make the strategies before the exams, or before the real tension starts, or after the exams? Of course before the exam, right? So in simple terms, guys, strategies, you have to be made as much as possible in advance. You have to make the strategies as much as possible. You have to plan for everything in advance and accordingly make your strategies. We call this aspect as being proactive. So that is why, guys, when you make your timetable, when you make your study schedule, you allocate days, right? That, okay, for accounts we have 7 days, for law I'm going to spend 5 days, likewise, right? So you prepare, you plan everything in advance, and accordingly you try and follow it, right? Though I'm not commenting on the following part, I know what is your position, okay, what plans you make and how much you implement, I know it very well. So we are not at the moment going to talk about the implementation part, but yes, all of you make this plan, right? So here what has happened, you are being proactive. You calculate the number of days which is left for your exams, till your exams, accordingly you dedicate, or you devote time to each of the subjects that we have. You are being proactive here, okay. That means you are planning for things in advance, okay, and it's good to be proactive, okay. You have to plan things in advance, but guys, life is uncertain, the environment is full of uncertainties. So even if you plan everything in advance, things might not go the way you had planned. Now let's say you planned that, okay, I'm going to spend these 7 days in the subject of auditing, but then unfortunately, let's say you become ill, or you have fever during that 7 days, 3 days very high fever, and you're not able to study. So now what will you do? Will you not have to now change your strategies a bit, because you have lost on some number of days or hours? Probably you'll try to make up for it. Probably you'll try to increase the number of hours per day in the subsequent days after you have recovered from the fever. Probably you'll try to put in more efforts. probably one extra day you'll allocate to audit now. So what I'm trying to tell you here is, what strategies you had thought of that, okay, in these 7 days I'm going to finish up auditing, but things did not happen as planned. And then because of some uncertainties, you will have to make changes in your strategy. So this is what is called as being reactive. So always remember, guys, that strategies are going to be a blend of proactive and reactive actions. So it says strategy is partly proactive and partly reactive. Okay, we'll cover the theory part also, but I hope you have got an understanding, guys. If life would have been very simple, if environment would have been very stable, we could have made the entire planning and strategies 100% in advance, right? And we know that, okay, this is how things are going to be, and we would have been able to stick to our strategy. But this doesn't happen. Okay, whatever you plan, there would be certain uncertainties. The example which I gave you, maybe you fall sick, maybe your best friend or cousin comes to your house, maybe some unwanted relatives come to your house to stay for 7 days, then your study plan gets disrupted, it gets, disturbed. So we can't predict things with certainty. If we at all we were able to predict things with certainty, guys, we should have called ourselves as astrologers, right? Not as strategists, or for that in the example which I gave you, student, right? So we can't predict things with 100% accuracy. Hence there always will be some element of reactive action. Okay, in light of the changes in the environment, we might have to fine tune our strategies, we might have to make changes in our strategies. So this aspect is called as being reactive. Okay, so what did I teach you guys here? The strategies need to be partly proactive and partly reactive. If I ask you very simply, guys, okay, can we make strategies which is 100% proactive? What do you think, guys? I need an answer from you. You can write it in the chat box, guys. Online Google Meet students also, please write in the chat box. The students who are watching on the app, please write it in the chat box. Can we make strategies which is 100% proactive? What do you think? Rakshita says no, Yalini says no. Okay, so yes, of course, even if we try and make, we never know what is going to happen in the next second of our life. We don't know what is going to happen, in the environment. We never know again when Modi ji will come at 8 p.m. and announce demonetization, and again we'll have to change our strategy. So we don't know about things that is going to happen in future. Hence, strategies always have to be partly proactive and partly reactive. Okay, now again, sir, because life is very uncertain, environment is full of uncertainties, it is very much turbulent, why do we even have to be proactive? Can't we be always reactive? What do you think, guys? Can't we be always reactive? Why there is a need to be proactive then, when we can't predict things, when things won't work out as we are planning to? So why can't we just be reactive? What do you think, guys? Should we always be, just be reactive? Will that be okay if we are just being reactive? See, if you just become reactive and you take actions only when certain things happen, probably you will be left very behind in your life, in the competition. Okay, your competitors would be preparing for things in advance, though there are uncertainties, but still they would have gained experience, they would have gained some knowledge, etc. But then if you are only being reactive, probably this is not going to be of much help to you. Hence, I'll give you certain examples also, don't worry. Hence we say that strategies always have to be a blend of proactive as well as reactive actions. Okay, now before I read on the text, guys, okay, I'll give you certain examples. Let's say there are two hotels, hotel A, and let's say hotel B. Okay, now listen to the example very carefully. Now, after the pandemic, guys, specifically in the countries like US and all, where people generally, stay alone and they don't stay much with their families like we have it in India, right? There's a different culture altogether there. So, because of the lockdown and all, people started feeling very lonely. And, there was a analysis done, and it showed that after the pandemic, and let's say during the pandemic itself also, that the the increment in people keeping pet dogs or pet, let's say, cat, okay, it has gone up. People have started keeping a lot of pet animals, uh, in their houses now, in their families. Okay, they are now family members, right? So the trend was, there's a rising trend that people have started keeping more pets. Okay, and everywhere you see that these days, guys, what is happening, guys, you go to some cafes, you go to some places, good restaurants and all, it is all becoming pet friendly. So what has happened? Okay, so hotel A noticed that, yeah, there is an increase in the trend of people, of couples, of young singles keeping a lot of pets. Okay, and then if on weekends, or if they want to stay in a hotel or a resort for 2 days, let's say relaxation and all, of course they would come with their pets. Now, earlier all the hotels used to be, they used to have a tag there, no pets allowed. But Hotel A saw this trend that there is an increase in people wanting to have pets now. There is an increase in people keeping pets now. So what Hotel A did immediately was, you know, uh, on all the booking portals, let's say booking.com, Agoda, Make My Trip. So it changed its policy. It started, mentioning itself as pet friendly hotel. And you know what they did? Pet friendly hotel. And what they did is, basically they even constructed few small rooms to be, only for the pets. They even made a small play area for the pets, so that they come and they can play and all. Okay, and they even kept few persons specialized in this, who are able to manage the pets and all. So Hotel A changes policy to become a completely pet friendly hotel. Now any couple who wants to book, let's say there are two options, Hotel A and Hotel B, they are liking both the options. And most of the couples now, because of the increase in the trend of people keeping pets, so if they have a pet and they see, oh, it's a pet friendly hotel, which hotel out of A and B would they prefer? Of course, they would prefer Hotel A. And then Hotel A, because of this strategy, because of this change in the policy, their sales got very high. And meanwhile, Hotel B, which was still with this no pet policy, their sales kept on declining. Why? Because they did not follow the recent trend that people have started keeping pets. Accordingly, they also have to make changes. So they did not do it. Okay, and their sales kept on declining. So what has happened here? Which Hotel A, can I say that they were actually what? Proactive. They were proactive. They saw that this is a recent trend coming up, everyone is keeping pet, and accordingly they changed the policy of the hotel. They made a few construction in the hotel. They kept few specific specialized persons to manage pets and all. So their sales, they saw a boost in their sales now. On the other hand, Hotel B realized now that when they noticed, why are their sales going down? Their food and all was good, their reviews was good, but post COVID their sales have gone down. And then they realized, maybe because a lot of people now in US have pets, and since this hotel is not pet friendly, so maybe that is why people don't want to check in this hotel again. So now probably they realized, and now they have changed their policy. They have also now mentioned that this, yes, they will become a pet friendly hotel. But what has happened, guys? This Hotel B has followed what approach of strategic management? They have been reactive. Absolutely, they have been reactive only. So now I'm not saying being reactive is bad, but I did tell you this earlier also. We discussed this, sir, because there are so many uncertainties and changes that keeps on happening. Can't we be just reactive? So this is what Hotel B has done. But you know what is going to happen? By the time they realize, and by the time they react, and by the time they change their policies, okay, this Hotel A would have created a brand. This Hotel A would have got so much of reviews and recommendations from the people who already are, pet lovers, or they are pet parents, let's say. So so much of reviews from the pet parents, that it's a very friendly hotel for the pets, etc. So again, this hotel would still be at a better position as compared to Hotel B. because let's assume that hotel B just changed its policy in after 6 months itself, but hotel A in those 6 months must have established a trust, a brand, or let's say good feedback, good reviews from the customers. They must have got on the online platforms and all, and based on this, new persons who want to go to hotel A, or they're trying to choose between hotel A and B, would still prefer hotel A. So that is the reason why I told you, just by being reactive alone is also not going to be a good thing. You can't just be proactive also. If you become proactive only, probably this can only be possible if you can see the future. You are an astrologer, right? But you can't be just proactive. It's not good just to be reactive also. Hence always remember, the strategies have to be what? It has to be a blend of proactive and reactive actions. Okay. In your exams, for your exams also, when you make strategies, it has to be a mixture, it has to be a blend, guys, of both. Proactive, make it in advance, try to stick to it as much as possible. But if there are any disruptions, uncertainties which pop up, okay, you have to mold, you have to change, you have to fine tune your strategies accordingly. So this part is called as being reactive, right? So again, I'm repeating it for the last time, guys. Strategies have to be a blend of proactive and reactive actions. Okay. All right. So I hope this example gives you a good idea. Let's read the point now. Strategy is partly proactive and partly reactive, right? A company's strategy is typically a blend of, please mark this word, it has to be a blend of proactive actions. It has to be a blend of proactive actions on the part of managers to improve the company's market position or financial performance. So the managers of the company, they have to take proactive actions so that they are able to improve the company's market position, the financial performance, etc. And at the same time, they have to be reactive. Reactive means, see the word, needed actions. These actions would be needed to, why would these actions be needed? To unanticipated changes or developments or some fresh market conditions which happens in the environment. Okay. So always remember, guys, that why should the managers be proactive? They have to be proactive so that they are able to improve their market position, they are able to have a better financial position performance, and they have to be reactive to basically adjust to the changes in the environment, to unanticipated developments, to unanticipated changes, and to fresh market conditions. Like the example which I gave you, in after COVID, what happened? It's a fresh market thing now that everyone is keeping pet, and accordingly you have to upgrade the policy. And these days, guys, if you see, uh, you know I travel a lot, many places I have seen that lot of cafes and all, they are becoming pet friendly. So you are eating food and all, and the pets and all will always also be there, they'll keep on going here, there, and also people, they would not want their pet to be alone at home and go to a cafe. So now, because I told you, this is a culture that has uh, developed or evolved in the recent past, so a lot of places are now becoming pet friendly. In fact, some of the I recently saw some of the airlines also have become pet friendly. Earlier, if you want to basically you are traveling and you want to travel with your pet, the pet would be kept at where all the luggage of the passengers are stored, and you don't have AC there, the temperature is also very high there, so it's not a very friendly environment for the pets. But some airlines now, you can book a ticket for your pet. Of course, they have to be in some kind of container or a cage kind of thing, but you can book a seat and keep it along with you. Some US based airlines and domestic airlines have started all this. So you have to change as per the circumstances, as per the trends. So this is called as being proactive. Now, anyone who has a pet and the flight is pet friendly would prefer this airlines over somebody who doesn't have a pet friendly policy. And gradually, because in this company, hotel A saw that yes, in their locality, in that area, a lot of people have started keeping pet, so it is better to change the policy, and they did it. Hence they are, hotel A can be regarded as being proactive, and hotel B here has been reactive. But again, it has to be a blend. I hope it is clear, guys. Okay. All right. Now, so we have covered this very important concept that strategies have to be partly proactive and partly reactive. Okay. Why reactive? Reactive is, it is also called as needed actions, needed to unanticipated developments, to the fresh market conditions. Now, guys, again, if I tell you one simple example again, let's say uh, we are in 2016. Okay, and the company, my company, we made an annual plan, we made an entire plan for April 2016 till March 2017, with respect to the sales targets, with respect to the marketing budgets, with respect to the production planning. We made an entire strategy throughout for the entire year. We were planning to have an increment, let's say, in sales, in terms of growth by 10 to 12%, and accordingly we made the entire strategy. But all of a sudden, in the month of, I think, November, Modi ji came at around 8 p.m. and he announced demonetization, that from next day these currencies are of no use. Don't you think, guys, this is something which none of the companies would have anticipated, right? None of the companies would have anticipated. And don't you think now, there is a need now to respond to this unanticipated change, fresh market condition? Now, of course, the sales would be impacted. People are not wanting to buy things now. People are ready to go into the banks and queue up and exchange their old notes with the new ones, etc. So of course the sales is going to be impacted, the operations is going to be impacted, and now the managers need to change their strategy accordingly. Maybe they would have to change their budgets, they would have to change their planning, etc. Okay, so strategies have to be a blend of proactive and reactive actions. Done. So many examples we have covered, right? Okay, great, guys. Next is substitute. Okay, strategy is no substitute for sound, alert, and responsible management. It says strategies are no substitute for sound, alert, and responsible management. What does it mean, guys? For my company, let's say I'm into a business. Okay, I consulted a very senior expert strategic consultant based in UK for my company, as to how we can grow, what should be my plan of action, etc. So he gave us a lot of strategies. He told us you have to do this, that, etc. Now, guys, just because I have already got the strategies from a managed strategist, a very high profile expert, okay, so why would I even need managers now? Why do I need managers to manage the business? Please understand, this is not the case. Even if you have these strategies, it's not a substitute for management. Management will have to be present. Okay, guys, the decisions ultimately are taken by management. That expert must have given me the strategy, but he also will not know that Modi ji will come and announce for demonetization. Now what has to be done? So my managers only will take decisions, yes or no? So please understand, guys, this line, that strategy is not a substitute for sound, alert, and responsible management. Management will always be there. Okay, we have to understand, guys, that in a very simple way, rather I can say that strategy is something which is complementary to management. Okay, both have to be there together. Without management, my strategies are going to be of no use. Okay, that person from UK has given me the strategies. Okay, he has formulated strategies for me, but who is going to implement? And after implementation, whether the strategies are working as intended or not, who is going to evaluate? I need management for that. So don't think that, okay, if you have the best of the strategies, you don't need management. Now, this is not how things work, guys. Okay, so that this is the line. The line basically is trying to convey to us that, okay, strategy is not substitute for sound, alert, and responsible management. I can put it in this way, that it is rather complementary to the management. Both has to be there. Okay, is it clear, guys, everyone? Okay, all right. And the last part, guys, it says strategies can never be perfect or flawless or optimal. Okay, now what does this mean, guys? Understand this. Imperfection is a basic characteristic of a strategy. We can't come up with a strategy which is 100% perfect. We can't come up with a strategy which is going to guarantee perfection or optimal, let's say, outcomes. Despite the fact that we do a lot of rigorous analysis and planning, external environment, economic downturns, technological disruptions, unforeseen circumstances, we can't predict all these things. Hence, whatever strategy you make, guys, okay, can never be perfect, can never be flawless. There will be certain issues. You will have to again rework on the strategies and keep on making it better. Okay, so just remember, perfection is a myth. Okay, if you keep on looking only for perfection, probably you'll not be able to progress. Okay, progress is more important than perfection. And this is again a basic thing about strategy. If you keep waiting for a perfect strategy to happen, it is not going to happen, and meanwhile all your competitors will, be way ahead of you. So always remember, guys, that strategies can never be perfect. It cannot be flawless ever. It can never give you optimal guarantee that the results or outcome would be optimal. No. Okay. The most important thing here is basically that yes, you make your strategies and move ahead with it. As and when things happen, changes in the environment happens, unwanted and unanticipated developments keep on happening, you make changes in your strategy. So this is how we have to work. Okay, now if I just give you one example, uh, let's say, guys, uh, a hospitality company, let's say a hotel or something, okay, they made a very good strategy for their growth, okay, based on the market trends, based on the consumer preferences. They made a good strategy, okay, but then all of a sudden in March 2020 the global pandemic happened and it disrupted the entire hospitality industry's landscape. Okay, and huge challenges were there. So even if they made best of the strategies, guys, they made the best of the strategies for growth, but your strategies can never be perfect. And the one basic reason for this is we can't predict the changes that is going to happen in the environment. We can't predict about the shift or changes in the consumer preferences. We can't predict all these things, hence our strategies can never be perfect, flawless and optimal. Done. All right, so with this, guys, we have studied so much about the basics of strategy. Okay, I'm just repeating the things again. We studied a very basic definition of strategy. That strategies, the word has originated from the warfare. Basically, dictionary meaning means something to do with war, to win over the enemies. But one definition of strategy that you have to keep in mind always, that strategy is a game plan. It's a plan by whom? The management. For what things? Five things. Number one, having a better market position, smooth operations, attract and please the customers, compete successfully, and ultimately achieve the overall objectives. Then I taught you that strategies are long range blueprint. You can't expect to get the results immediately. Okay, you'll have to be patient and wait to get to that desired image destination. Okay, then very important thing, strategy is partly proactive and partly reactive. That means it has to be a blend of proactive and reactive reactions. Okay, you have to be proactive so that you are in a position, you are able to get a better market position, have a better financial performance, etc. And you need to be reactive because of the unanticipated changes, developments, fresh market conditions that takes place in the environment. You have to adapt to it. Okay, then we covered the point that strategies are not a substitute for sound, alert and responsible management. This simply means that we have to have management. Okay, I can't do anything with my strategies without management. So management has to be there, more importantly, for implementation, for execution of those strategies. And finally, I told you that strategies can never be perfect, flawless or optimal. So don't wait for perfection, just start. Okay, just move ahead. This is what the management will teach us, the subject of strategic management will teach us. Okay, now that we have covered the basics of just the word strategy, guys, we have just covered the word strategy. I'm also going to discuss few questions that has been asked in the exam with respect to the word strategy. Okay, and if you see, we towards the end of the chapter, guys, we have a section on practice questions. Okay, and here all the questions, all the types of questions which has been asked in the past exam, which is there in the recent study material, I've incorporated everything. Okay, and you will see that there are certain true and false also. Now in the recent past, true and false has not been asked in the subject of strategic management, but in all my study material I still include this, because you never know. I mean, what if they will not ask you, they'll just mention strategies are perfect, flawless and optimal organization plans. They'll, rather than true or false, they'll say explain. So the explanation part is of immense importance. So I don't want you to skip any of the question, whether it is in the form of true, false, correct, incorrect or any other manner. Just read them, because it is going to give you a lot of clarity in the concept. Okay, so let's understand, guys. It says, first question, strategies are perfect, flawless and optimal organization plans. We just covered, no, it's not perfect, right? So now let's understand how to write the answer. It says statement is false, and it says strategies are flexible, pragmatic. Strategies have to be pragmatic. What is meant by the word pragmatic, guys?
Dynamic.
dynamic, okay, or yeah, I can say pragmatic, not just dynamic, but logical. I mean, you have to deal with things very sensibly. This is what pragmatic means. Okay, it's flexible and it's not like you take decisions randomly. It has to be very much logical. So pragmatic means sensible, logical. Okay, so strategies are flexible and pragmatic. It is the art of possible. Art of possible is again a phrase, guys, which is mostly used by I mean, politicians are the first person who come into my mind when I say art of possible. When they campaign for the elections, they'll say a lot of good things. If you elect me, I'll do this, I'll do that. But do they even, I mean, if they are able to do 50% of what they say is good enough, right? So art of possible simply means they are not looking for perfection, that whatever they say they will do it. But yes, even if you are able to achieve 50%, 60% of the things, it's good. This is what strategy is about. Don't aim for perfection. It says it is the art of possible. It is the art of possible. It does not preclude second best choices. It's, you can't be perfect, but it does not preclude second best choices. You can go ahead with that. Trade-offs means what? Sometimes you have to compromise also. You can't be at one position thinking that, okay, I'll start this when I'm perfect. No, it might include a lot of compromises, trade-offs. There might be sudden emergencies, there might be certain pressures, there will be a lot of failures also. Sometimes there will be frustrations also. Hence, guys, strategies are not perfect. They can't be flawless, or they can't give you or assure you 100% optimal output. Okay. However, it says, yes, always remember this, guys. However, in guys, like, let's say if you make strategies for your exam also, you will always leave some margin. Okay, that what if in 7 days I'm not able to do it? You keep one buffer day, one extra day. What if I fall sick? Of course you'll not anticipate all these things, but yes, you never know. What if one day I'm not in a mood to study, something like this. So it says, in a sound strategy, if you make a good strategy, allowances are always made for possible miscalculations and unanticipated events. You always make some provisions for things which cannot be anticipated, for things which which you have miscalculated. Okay, so that's why we keep one buffer day and all, right? Sometimes you become over ambitious, and you become you set unrealistic targets. A student who has not you know sit and who has not even studied ever for more than 4 hours a day, and all of a sudden he makes a plan, from tomorrow I'm going to study for 16 hours. So if you set unrealistic goals, of course it is not going to happen. Here the student perhaps did just some sort of miscalculation about himself, right? From 4 hours to 16 hours. So a good strategy, guys, should always have some provisions for changes, for rectification, I can say. Okay, so done. So strategies are perfect, flawless, and optimal organization plans. Now see the keywords, the purpose why I'm discussing these questions, guys. Okay, if this question comes in the exam, let's say, everyone will be able to write whether it is true or false. Everyone knows that, yeah, strategies can't be perfect, can't be optimal, it can't be flawless. But the main crux is, what words should you be using while you're writing the answer? How would you explain this? So that is why it is very important for you to go through these answers. See that, try and capture the keywords. I'm not asking you to learn everything. The more repetitions you do, you'll be able to retain those keywords. It's just the keywords that you have to retain, and then you'll be able to write well in the exam. Okay, so let's see the keywords again. Strategies are flexible, it's pragmatic, that means sensible, based on logic, reasons, and it is the art of possible. Art of possible means it just means getting things done rather than waiting to be perfect and then starting. Art of possible is getting things done. And strategies includes a lot of trade-offs, compromises. There might be sudden changes, emergencies, there might be a lot of failures also, frustrations also. It's not an optimal guarantee to an optimal output. Okay, hence, but yes, you also have to remember that in a good strategy, guys, some room, some allowance always has to be made for uncertainties that might pop up in future. That's it. Okay, all right. Next, again, a very good question. A company's strategy has always to be proactive in nature. True or false? I've been telling you this, it has to be a blend, right? But then again, it's a true and false, but then you can use this explanation in lot of questions may be asked in a variety of ways. It's not just true and false. They might say, company strategy has to be a blend of proactive and reactive actions. Explain. So even in that, for that question, the explanation is very good, which is given here. Let's understand this. The statement is false, of course. It says a company strategy is a blend of, see the main word, it's a blend of proactive and reactive actions by the management. Now, in this paragraph, first, they have explained why proactive, okay, and in the next paragraph they have explained why reactive strategy, okay, and then they have given a conclusion that's owing to the above reasons, etc. Okay, so let's read the point. In a proactive strategy, organization will analyze possible environmental scenarios and create strategic framework after proper planning, and work on these strategies in a predetermined manner. So recall the example of hotel A, guys. Hotel A was proactive, right? So in a proactive strategy, they would try to analyze the possible environmental scenarios. They analyze that, okay, people have started keeping pet, the the singles, the couples also, now the young couples specifically, they always prefer to have a pet. So they saw this. How did they got to know about this? They must have done an environmental analysis, right? Okay, now however, guys, no matter how much environmental analysis you do, it's a reality that no company can forecast both their internal and external environment exactly. Of course, they would can't predict things with 100% accuracy. Okay, everything cannot be planned in advance. It is not possible to anticipate the moves of rival firms. What is the rival going to do? You can't anticipate. You can't anticipate what Modi ji is going to do next. You can't anticipate what new laws are going to come next. Okay, so it is not possible to anticipate the moves of rival firms. It is not anticipate to predict the behavior, the changes in the behavior, the preferences of the consumer. You can't predict what technology is going to come on. And there will always be some difference or deviation between what you had planned and what is actually happening, right? So there can be significant deviations between what was planned and what actually happens. So strategies, now very important line again. Yeah, strategies need to be attuned or changed or modified in light of the possible environmental changes. And hence when you are required to change, it is called as reactive strategy. When is reactive strategy need to be done? Reactive strategy is triggered by the changes in the environment. It is triggered by the changes in the environment, and it provides ways and means to cope up with the negative factors and take advantage of the emerging opportunities. So always remember, guys, reactive strategy are basically the needed reactions or actions, I can say, in light of the changes in the environment. Hence now, thus owing to the reasons as mentioned above, quite often strategies of most organizations are always going to be a combination of proactive is planned strategies, and reactive is basically the changes that you do. Okay, so it has to be a blend. Fine. So this was more of a theoretical question, guys, and we also have one practical question, one scenario based question based on this concept of strategy being proactive and reactive. Let's read this. It says, a very good question, a very old one also, but it is still there in the new study material also. Yummy foods and tasty foods. Yummy foods and tasty foods are successfully competing in the business of ready to eat snacks in Patna. So, Yummy foods and tasty foods, they are two competitors, and both of them are in the business of ready to eat snacks, and they are based in Patna. Okay. Yummy has been pioneer in introducing innovative products. These products will give them good sale. Okay, they come up with new products and it gives them good sale. However, Tasty Foods will introduce similar products in reaction to the products introduced by Yummy Foods, taking away the advantage gained by the former. So Yummy Foods will come up with new products first, and Tasty Foods, when they see, okay, the product is successful, then they will launch it. Okay, discuss the strategic approach of the two companies. Okay, now what do you think, guys? And it says which is superior. So we have two companies, Yummy Foods and Tasty Foods. Yes, can you tell me, guys? You can write it in the chat box, please. App students, online students, Google Meet students, everyone. Yes, please write. Yummy Foods, what strategy, what approach are they following? They come up with the new products first. Yeah, so yeah, Rakshita, you're correct. Yummy Foods are being proactive here, and Tasty Foods, when they see that okay, the products which was launched by Yummy Foods is successful, people are liking it, then they will launch similar products. So they are being reactive. Okay, so let's see the answer. Yummy Foods is proactive in its approach. On the other hand, Tasty Food is reactive. Proactive strategy is planned strategy. Please mark this line, very important again. Proactive strategy is planned strategy, whereas reactive strategy is adaptive reaction or needed reaction to the changing circumstance. Okay, a company's strategy has to be a typically blend of proactive actions on the part of managers to improve the company's market position and financial performance, and reactions to unanticipated developments of fresh market condition. Now this is the same line that we had covered in our notes with respect to strategies are partly proactive and partly reactive. Okay, now if organizational resources permit, it is always better to be proactive rather than reactive. I told you, see, I am not asking you or saying that okay, you need to be 100% proactive or you need to be 100% reactive. It has to be, it will be a blend, but yes, you have to be more of proactive. If you plan for things in advance, then and something wrong happens, guys, you will not be, it's not going to be a big shock for you. However, if you are totally unplanned, and probably you'll not be able to cope up also if some changes happen in the future. So it's always better to be proactive. Being proactive in the aspects such as introducing new products will give you advantage in the mind of customers. Okay, anyways, one more line, that you, when you make a strategy, crafting a strategy always involves stitching together proactive and intended strategy. That's it. So it has to be a blend basically, but yeah, of course, being proactive is going to be better than being reactive. That's it. Okay, so this is what is called as scenario based questions, and this is what the institute might ask you. And if they ask you more of scenario based questions, it's going to be a bonus for you. It's going to be quite easy. Okay, done. All right, next. See, we have a point. I will discuss one concept and we have a question on this also. Strategy is a substitute. Strategy is a substitute for sound, alert, and responsible management. What did I tell you, guys? If we have only strategy, can we run the company without management? Because we have the best of the strategies. What do you think? No, we need to have management. I told you, it's like complementary to the management. We need to have management. Okay, even if I have got the strategies formulated, I need to have management to implement those strategies, to execute those strategies, and to see whether the strategies are giving me the desired results or not. Maybe because Modi ji comes again and announces something, my managers will have to take reactive actions also. So management is must. It's not a substitute, right? So let's read how they have answered this part. So the statement is of course false. Strategy is not a substitute for sound, alert, and responsible management. Okay, strategies are goal oriented decision and actions in which capabilities and resources are matched. In which capabilities and resources are something which is internal to our organization. Okay, so we match our internal capabilities and resources, internal strengths, with the opportunities and threats in the environment. So this comes from the external environment. So management has to be there to do this matching. See, if there is an opportunity in the environment, then only we are going to think of expanding, right? And if there is an opportunity in the environment, people are wanting to have this product, we need to have money also, capital also, to expand. So the matching, the SWOT analysis that we will be studying later, you must have heard about SWOT analysis, right? Strengths, weakness, opportunity, threats. So the matching of the external environment with the internal environment, of course, will be done by management, and accordingly the decisions would be made. So a good management at the top can steer the organization by adjusting its path on the basis of changes in environment. So to manage all the changes, guys, we need to have management. So remember, guys, why particularly do we need to have management? To match the internal and external environment, and also whenever there are certain changes in the environment, to cope up with the changes, to make changes in the strategy, we need to have management. So the sentence strategies are substitute for sound, alert, and responsible management is absolutely wrong. We still need to have management even if we have the best of the strategies. Okay, all right, so yes, we have covered all the questions with respect to the word strategy. Okay, all right, if you see the basics, the first part again, guys, almost, guys, we had question from this part we covered question from this, we covered question from this. Here we only covered one line about each of them, but then the explanation part we have covered it from the questions. Okay, so yes, we have completed the first topic, which is strategy. Okay, in the next topic we shall be taking up the word management. Okay, guys, so the next word that we have to discuss, that we are going to discuss, is the word management. Okay, we have discussed the word strategy. Now we are going to discuss the word management, and then we are going to combine them to understand the meaning of the subject, the name of your subject, strategic management. Okay, but let's first understand the word management. Okay, and we just have 2 points to discuss with respect to the word management. Okay, now in our ICI material, the word management has been discussed in two senses. It has been used in two senses. Now what are the two senses? If I just discuss them first, let's say in our module, ICI module, they have discussed management from two perspectives. What are the two perspectives? Number one, they say that management means the key group of the company. Management means the key persons of the company. It simply means the ones who are in charge of the affairs of the company, the ones, let's say I can call them as CEO, I may even call them as CFO. So the term management, the first word is, it's like the key group in the organization. Okay, it can be the department heads, it can be supervisors also. Okay, so these persons, what they do is, their job is to bring together the company's resources, like people, money, material, and maybe technology also. Okay, so the first aspect of management is key groups. Okay, and when I say key groups, I'll just draw two persons also here, so that you are able to understand that it's talking about the CEO, it's talking about the supervisors, it's talking about the departmental heads. Okay, and we are going to discuss more about this, but there is one more sense in which the word management has been discussed in our ICI study material. And what is it? It is basically that management is a process, that management is a function. So the second sense in which, wherein we have to discuss the word management, is with respect to the concept of process and function. Okay, so when I say management is key group, that means the CEO, CFO, etc. And when I say management is a process, it's a function, it simply means the management functions that you have been studying from your 11th and 12th standard. Okay, that it includes planning, organizing, directing, staffing, control, etc. So these are the functions of management. I'm very sure you must have gone through these words in your 11th and 12th standard also: planning, organizing, directing, staffing, controlling, etc. So management word can be understood from these two senses. Number one is key group, and the second one is maybe in terms of some process or function. Okay, now let's understand them in detail. All right, so if you can see here in our notes also, it's mentioned that management is a term which is used in two senses. What are the two senses? Number one, it is used with reference to a key group in the organization, somebody who is in charge of its affairs. So probably this key group person would be in charge of affairs of the company, in charge of the affairs of the company. But at the same time, okay, it says in relation to an organization, management is the chief organ, the main person entrusted with the task of making it purposeful and productive entity, by undertaking the task of bringing together and integrating the disorganized resources of manpower, money, material, and technology. So their main work is basically to bring together, guys. Always remember, they will work in such a way, the job is to bring together the company's resources. What resources? I'm just writing, guys. It can be people, or let's say in ICI material it is written as manpower, so I'll use manpower. They are going to integrate the manpower. It can be money, it can be material, as well as what? Technology. I'm writing only tech. Okay, so reading the point again, guys, if you can see here, what is it that is mentioned? Their main work. Okay, so number one point for all of you to remember is that it's a key group who is basically in charge of the affairs of the entity. And what is their work? Their work is to bring together, or let's say integrate the resources. Which resources, guys? Manpower, money, material, and technology into a functioning wide. Okay, so this is basically about the management, the person, how competent they are. Okay, see the last line. It depends to the large extent to the competence and character of its management. So it's talking about the individuals, the persons who run the company, who take decisions on behalf of the company. It can be CEO, it can be the supervisor, it can be the departmental heads, it can be just a manager. You can call it by any name. So the persons who is entrusted, who has been given the responsibility to run the affairs of the business, run the affairs of the company, is a management. Is management. Okay, so we are referring to the persons, the key group here. On the other hand, the word management can also be used with respect to the interrelated functions and processes carried out by the management. The processes which the management carries out. So it's not talking about the key group, it's talking about the functions that they do. And what functions do they do? These functions can include planning, organizing, directing, staffing, and controlling. So planning, organizing, directing, staffing, and controlling. That's it. Are you clear on this part, guys? Everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. So yes, management, we are done with the word management. Okay, so again, guys, you all know this, you are expert already in this particular word. In our ICM module, again, let me just repeat, guys. Management word has been discussed in two senses. What are the two senses? Number one, in terms of the persons, in terms of the key groups who run the business, who are in charge of the affairs of the entity, who bring together all the resources, who integrate the resources like manpower, like money, material, technology, to ultimately achieve the objectives of the business, of the enterprise, right? On the other hand, management can also be construed as a process, a function like planning, organizing, leading, controlling, directing, staffing, etc. So it can be discussed in terms of functions or process. Done. So yes, simple. We are done with the concept of management, already over. And we have one specific question, guys, to discuss with respect to the word management. If you see, there was once this question asked, management is a influence process. I'm on question number 5. Okay, management is an influence process. Now this is an extension of explanation that we have covered, so that is why the question becomes important for us to read. Management is an influence process. Is the manager capable to influence his subordinates? Of course, yes. The work of management is to influence others. It's an influence process, right? But imagine, guys, okay, now I'll just give you one simple example. Okay, imagine uh, I am just a 12th pass student, okay, and I am teaching you some things about management and all. Perhaps you might not be very much influenced by me. Why? Because I am still young. I don't have practical experience and all. But on the other hand, if somebody who is, let's say, a professional, a chartered accountant, who is already, let's say, into business, who has got a lot of experience in business, who has money, who has power, and he tries to tell you something, you might still get influenced. Why? Because it is backed by his knowledge, profession, expertise, money, power, etc. Right? So no doubt, management is an influence process, but how much do you get influenced also will depend on certain factors, right? So we are just going to discuss about this here. It says management is an influence process. Absolutely true. It says management is an influence process to make things happen, to gain command over phenomena, to induce and direct events and and people in a particular manner. So managers are meant for that. Okay, any of your friend working in a company, of course he or she will follow whatever the management says. They will have to work in accordance with the management. So management's work is basically to influence, to induce others, to make things happen, to gain command over a particular phenomena, to induce and direct events and even people. However, very very important line, guys, influence, how much are they able to influence is going to be dependent, is backed by power, competence, knowledge, and the resources. Okay, if somebody is really experienced, he has good money, maybe he has actually done business and actually grown, he has a big company with lot of manpower, then perhaps if he comes and tells us something, probably the chances of us being influenced is going to be very high in this case. Okay, anyways, so management managers, they formulate organization goals, values, and strategies to cope up with and adapt to the or adjust themselves with the behavior and changes in the environment. So the work of management is to get things done. They would not do things much of themselves, they'd get it done from others. Okay, this is what strategic management is all about. This is what we call it as art of possible. You get the things done from others. This is what the word management means. Okay, All right. So this was one question, guys, with respect to the word management. And I think with this, we are done with the concept of the word management. Now that we have learned what management is, we are going to combine the two words strategy and management and understand what strategic management actually means.